So I saw this on Twitter, posted by Perch Bird. Sorry, in what world has XIV solved anything regarding housing? So it's a Bloomberg article, and when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way this is real. Is this real? I thought somebody made it as a meme, but it's real. It says, the video game that solved the housing crisis virtually. This is, by the way, this is a house in Final Fantasy XIV. This is a house that you can get. But let's just say you need to be grandfathered in. So, anyway, the comments. The comments on the tweet first. And then we'll get to the actual article, which is... Well, we'll get to it. Not even a house you can buy. Do any of the news outlets talking about FFXIV actually play FFXIV? Now, when I first realized that this was an actual article, I thought this article has come to be because there's some Final Fantasy player who works at Bloomberg, and like they had only been playing Final Fantasy all week, but Bloomberg had told them that they have a deadline and they need to get out their article about the housing crisis by Friday at 8 p.m. And they're like, oh shit, I forgot to work on my article, but I have been playing Final Fantasy all week, so maybe I can just like put those two together and get my article done really quickly, right? Like first, that's what I thought went down, but now after reading the article, which we'll read in a second, I'm not so sure. Do you think this is not a house? It is a house. It's just not for pores. I mean, it is Bloomberg. Okay, it is a Bloomberg article. So, kids these days whine about not being able to afford a house. Just go play Final Fantasy XIV. So, okay. So, let's look at the article. Hi, everyone. It's Cecilia. In today's newsletter, we're talking about a housing market that doesn't make millennials groan with frustration. But first, some gaming news. This doesn't matter. Fair housing fantasy. In April, my parents and I were both house hunting. For them, that meant scrutinizing listings and driving to disappointing open houses. But for me, that meant sitting at their kitchen table on my computer, clicking on a placard in front of an empty plot of land in Square Enix online game, Final Fantasy XIV. In Final Fantasy XIV, like half a dozen other online games, players drop huge sums of digital cash on virtual abodes where they gather with friends to throw parties and strategize battles. Yes, that is where we go before we raid. We usually all gather together at a house so we can strategize and we can write down we can make the PowerPoint together, and we can build the macros together before we go into our extreme trial. The lavishly decorated homes have inspired fantasy spin-offs of Cribs and HGTV. More importantly, these houses give players the essential feeling of community that gels together online society. But my friends and I had no access to housing in the game, even though we had the time, money, and desire. What? So how did FFXIV solve that? FFXIV, among the most popular of online role-playing games, was suffering a years-long housing shortage. Like almost every other game in the genre, the systems were designed on a first-come, first-served basis so that only the longest-standing, richest, and most well-connected players became homeowners. I don't think that's what that meant. Like, okay, when it was first come, first serve. Actually, no, I think that it is true because I know a guy who did get his house in the past after standing there clicking the placard for about 18 hours straight. So he was standing, he was long standing. He was the longest standing. And he was well connected too because his connection did not dip. that entire time. He had a really solid connection to the game during that time. Nobody who has run an online world has any illusions about a libertarian version of economics, says the designer of Ultima Online. Strange person to get input in for the article, but are you saying yeah, you can't have the libertarian solution for housing in the game, though maybe we should. I mean, maybe it's the Ishgard government that's made housing so unaffordable. Like, we need to get we need to get Big Emmerich out of the way. It's Ishgard that's restricting the supply by limiting where and how the houses can even be built. Like, why are we only putting single family homes on every plot? Maybe we could stack houses on top of one another. Maybe we put an apartment building on every plot. Maybe we could put some houses inside the church. Maybe we could tear down the orphanage or start clearing out some forest around Kurthus. That's some more plots. It's the government that's not letting us, all that red tape in the way, not letting us put houses anywhere we want to sell them. It's the big Ishgard. Anyway, Policy Pertains Housing Crisis attracted mainstream scrutiny in 2017 when two wealthy players bought up 28 homes in one game server, nearly an entire neighborhood. But this is Bloomberg, so you guys are cool with that, right? Okay. The game allowed players to be grandfathered into ritzy homes in sought-after neighborhoods, creating the opportunity for the game's elites. Going back, you got lucky, right? Like, the author, like, you straight up got lucky. You won the lottery, and so that's why it's fair. I think that's... Okay, but did you read about how they were able to just buy the whole new... Like, did you read about the article that you linked? Okay, let's look. Players are now questioning whether virtual housing is a right or a privilege meant for the rich. Wait, what? No, that's not what players were questioning. They were questioning how the fuck anyone managed to get around the rules to do that when it's obviously not intended for that purpose. They're not asking, oh, maybe it's for the rich. Okay, the two players bought their homes in a formerly vacant corner of the game, a server called Mateus. Wait. So this, you interviewed these people, and they told you that they don't like it, that other people are mad that they took all the property? It hurts our feelings when people tell us that they're mad that we took every plot in the whole neighborhood. It's the, why are they so mean to us? Why don't they like us? We had to report people for harassment a few times. Oh, that's so sad. I can't believe that happened. I think it's wrong that people ignore the work and just see themselves being deprived. Yeah, it's wrong for the people that you stole all that shit from to feel like you stole it. Yeah, it's wrong for everybody to feel deprived when you took all the things. Yeah, they should be happy for you. They claimed 28 plots and thought they'd have that space to themselves. Likely, their land avarice wouldn't have become a problem. No, this is a problem. It would have been fine if lots of new people didn't join the server. Yeah, I guess it would have been fine if nobody had joined the server. If they were the only people on the server, then yeah, that would have been fine in that scenario, yeah. Oh, and it took a lot of time, guys. Look, it took a lot of time. They crafted a bunch of decor, okay? They decorated it really well. And she doesn't feel sorry for players who put in less effort. What the fuck? What the fuck? How did it now flip? The audacity, man. Okay. On a now viral Tumblr post, they wrote, many people feel entitled to own a house. They feel that even knowing there are only 2,160 plots on any given server, they can and should be allowed to go at their own pace and have free access to any content they like, including housing. They want a house of their own, but they don't want to accept that lots of other people want it badly enough to work harder for it than they did. Oh my god, dude. I have the perfect meme for this. Okay, wait. I need the shittiest take you have. No, that's too shitty. That's too shitty. That's way too shitty. If you guys just worked harder, then maybe you'd be the one with 28 housing plots. Good lord, a Redditor wrote, people who aren't rich enough to afford houses just aren't trying hard enough. No wonder Bloomberg linked to this fucking article. No wonder. Neither thinks that they're unfairly eating up FFXIV's limited housing resources. Of course they don't. They blame Square Enix for not accommodating players' passion for home ownership. I mean, honestly, some of the blame is on Square Enix for allowing this to happen and then allowing people that did it to keep their houses. They did make changes to that where it's harder to do that now, to do what these people did. It's harder to do that now. I don't know if it's impossible, but I think it is harder now. Rich people pay for the game, though. Rich people pay for the game. Yes. And? Do they pay more than everyone else? Or not? In mid-April, FFXIV developers released a long-awaited patch aimed at fixing the game's housing crisis. What did the trick? First of all, more housing. You guys, I'm really happy to hear that the game housing crisis is fixed. I thought that we still had problems, but it looks like they don't need to add any more housing. Like, there's a house for every butt. There's a butt for every seat. I actually think that anyone who is subbed for longer than 1 year to FF14 should get a standard house of some type. They just need to add personal instance housing. That's it. Like, that's going to be the only long-term solution, I feel. Game developers implement systems they're familiar with from the real world so players can immediately immerse themselves. Like poverty. But in games, when these systems create conflict, developers can iterate much more quickly than in real life, where there's a lot of friction. It's like, yeah, we put the class struggle into the game so that you would feel more comfortable, so that you can immediately, it'll be familiar. And we put the housing crisis in the game on purpose so that it would be like what you're used to and you'll feel immersed right away. As we gathered for a big fight in our front garden earlier this week, a neighbor across the street waved hello. I walked into her house. Wait, and wrote in her guest book that we'd won the battle. Wait, who were you fighting? I mean, look, it's incorrect. I'll say that. It's incorrect. The article is wrong about a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's because they got a house. That's why it's fine. So basically, I mean, if you're rich, if you have a rich mentality, then things are only a problem if they affect you. And once they stop affecting you, they're no longer a problem anymore. That's exactly what went down in this article. Like, it was a problem when we couldn't get it. But then when we got it, we realized that this is the best system. So, problem is solved. Great work, Yoshi P.